Hey Sainers, welcome back to the Saints TV YouTube channel. Bit of a different video today. I get asked this question a lot and it may come across as somewhat condescending depending on who you are. But to me, it is. And that's when people ask me, why do you go for the Saints? Why do you go for a club that has won premiership? Why do you go for a club that hardly makes finals once in 10 or so years? Why do you go for them? They're the butt of every joke. No one thinks they're relevant. They're always rumoured to be relocating to Tasmania. Why do you follow St Kilda? And not only follow them, why do you love them? Why do you put that up on the wall? Why do you collect things like this when you're a kid? And draw things like that? Why do you do that? And it's a big question because it's not as simple as I like the colours red, white and black, I guess, especially when they're together. But when I think about it, it goes all the way back to when I was a kid and early 2000s, 2000 to 2003. I had a really good friend, Jonathan, and his family, my family, they brought me in. They were all absolute mad Collingwood supporters. And at that point, I wasn't really watching football. I kind of knew of it and I watched it occasionally when my mum would watch it. She's been a Saint for a long time. Same with my uncle, her brother. But at that point on, I was probably, how old was I? 2000, 2003. About, going on 10, close to 10, 11, 12 years old. And I think I played a bit of sport in primary school, a bit of football, and I had a bit of a knack for it, but I never really watched it on the telly. And my friend Jonathan and his family, mad Collingwood fans, as I mentioned, they took me in and they always took me to games. They always took me back at Colonial Stadium, Telstra Dome days, Chris Tarrant taking speckies. They bought me memberships for Collingwood. They got me a signed Alan Didak portrait with his Guernsey, Happy Birthday Jake on it. I remember that. And although, I think about it now, I say that I was a Collingwood fan during those years. I don't really believe it anymore. I think I was just a football fan and I happened to be going to the football with my best friend whose family was, all Collingwood, all Magpies, just the black and white. That's all they thought about. They lived and breathed Collingwood more than I live and breathe St Kilda right now, believe it or not. And that was a big influence on me. That got me into football. I loved going to the games, loved experiencing the going and it's a packed stadium, and Collingwood back then were playing in grand finals, so they were selling out all the time. So to go with my best friend and his family was amazing, and that introduced me to football. So that got me growing in my love for the sport. But I remember a number of times we'd go to Collingwood and St Kilda games, and back then Collingwood flogged us. But I think at the time, my friend probably thought I was going for Collingwood. But I always, for some reason, whenever Saints were playing against Collingwood, I always wanted Saints to win. That already was a bit of a sign for me early days that I just watched them, and even when they were getting smashed, I remember, going to bed pretty early, but then getting up and my mum would be watching St Kilda on the couch in the living room, and it was, we were down by 70 odd points, but I just couldn't look away. I just wanted to watch us. Even if we were losing, it didn't matter. I just wanted to watch St Kilda more than any other team. And it came to a point, it was pre-season 2004, and I was at the Greyhounds, I think, with my uncle and my mum, and obviously not betting, but I was just sitting there while they were doing their thing, and it was the Wizard Cup semi-final against Essendon that was on the telly. And I remember turning to my uncle and telling him as of right now, I'm a St Kilda supporter and I'm going to sign up to be a St Kilda member tomorrow. And I did that, and I've been a member ever since. It's going on 16, 17 years in a row now. And I drew a picture. It wasn't this one. It was the week before, but this is the Wizard Cup winning picture. Obviously, that's a terrible... It must be Lenny Hayes. I wouldn't have thought it was Nick Riewoldt. The hair, not blonde. It's probably Lenny. 2004 Wizard Cup. No one was really smiling when they were holding that trophy anyway. That's a bit inaccurate, but I drew that. I got the scores up there, 98-76, I think it was, final score. But I drew one that night with Nick Riewoldt kicking a goal. And it was one of the early goals of that game against Essendon in the semi. And I drew it, and it was exactly like this. And I don't know where it is, but that kind of kick-started this whole St Kilda love. And we went on to win the Wizard Cup. We had a phenomenal 2004, won the first 10. So it was good timing for me to really make it official. But I just had too much passion anytime they were on the tally to not make it official and not to say it. I don't know why I kept it. I didn't hide it or anything, but I guess because I was with my friend and his family were mad Collingwood, I didn't really know what to do, so I just kind of went along with it, and it was great fun. And when I look back on it now, they were very, very important years. You know, Jonathan's not with us anymore. He left the world 3 years ago now, I think, 2018, just before Collingwood made the grand final. They didn't win it, but when I look back, I kind of thank him for and his family for taking me and introducing me to football, because if that didn't happen, I may not have really found St Kilda the way I did. A bit of an unorthodox way to do it by going to a lot of Collingwood games, but it worked, and who knows what would have happened if I didn't have that part of my life. And when I think about it now, it hurts because Jonathan's gone, but you know, that's life, I suppose, you know? And from that point on, I'd collect everything, you know? This is the famous Jake scrapbook. These memories. And you always look back on these and you think, like, non-Saint supporters will be like, but what's the point of looking back on all these things? You know, why keep this? Doesn't that hurt? We didn't win a flag. We haven't won one in my lifetime. We haven't won one in a lot of Saints' lifetimes. So why keep these? And it's because I'm proud. I'm proud to be a Saint. I'm proud to don the red, white and black. I'm proud of all of these things, and it doesn't matter if we didn't win the flag. Obviously, anyone that knows me knows that I want St Kilda to win every single game they play. But that just hasn't happened. But that doesn't mean I'm going to change teams. I'm not going to go for another team just because I was told that St Kilda weren't going to win back then when I was watching them as a Collingwood fan and closet St Kilda fan at the same time. And then, you know, I think St Kilda is really built into my personality. I am, you know, not what people expect. I think people don't expect me to achieve too much. And that's going back to my primary school and high school days. That's probably not a surprise to some people, but I was bullied a lot for some reason. A lot of people picked on me. A couple in particular, but generally when I would walk into a room, for some reason, people just looked at me and I'm like, don't I look like you? I look like you. I act like you. I've got groups of people in my class that act like absolute idiots, but they're cool and I'm the butt of the joke. I never got that. Now I've grown up and I've got some thick skin thanks to being a Saints fan, but also thanks to going through those experiences. And now I just thrive on that. I love that people try to do that to me. They try to bring me down. And that's the same with this club. They try to bring us down. They try to tell us that we're not important. They try to tell us that they can't take us seriously, that they don't expect much from us. And me, I've grown into the person that I am now. I am so driven because of that. And I want St Kilda to be the same way. And that's why I guess I was aligned with St Kilda, because I saw them as the underdogs of the competition, the butt of the joke, the team that no one can take seriously, the team that other supporter bases question, why the hell do you support them? Why do you support that team? Because I do. Because I see myself in that club for some reason. That's the best way to describe it, you know? The way I was raised, the experiences that I went through as a kid, St Kilda stands for that, for me. We're not the rich club. We're not the fancy club. We're not the club that people expect to do anything anytime soon. And that's every season. Even if we're decent, they expect us to fall over. We're destined to fail. And people thought of that of me when I was younger. High school, even uni days. Certain people. And that's always been in the back of my mind. And for some reason, when St Kilda lose, it's not just St Kilda losing. I feel like a loser as a person. You know, that's how closely aligned St Kilda and Jake are. It's not as simple as Saints lose, I didn't lose, I have to differentiate the two. No, they literally are intertwined. They're the one thing. That's how much this love stems, you know. And sometimes people will say, well, that's unhealthy, you've got to have a gap, but that is what it is, you know. I don't think I'd be running Saints TV the way I am and dedicated that much time to it if I wasn't that in love with St Kilda. You know, they've been there my whole life. It's kind of like that friend where things aren't going your way. You can kind of look to them and be like, well, they understand what's going on. The club understands. They've been through it. They know hardship. You know, but at the same time, you know, they get through it. We fight. We keep fighting. And I see myself as that I don't want to give up easily ever. And I don't see the club doing that. Despite what a lot of supporter bases think of St Kilda, we are very resilient. And I'd like to think I am as a person too. So the reason why I love St Kilda is because I feel like they make me a stronger person. Because the club has gone through so much and come out the other side. Maybe not with the ultimate glory of premiership success, but you know, with strength in numbers and the character that it builds. You know, the characters that have gone through that club. A lot of clubs have that, but for some reason, you look at other clubs and you're like, oh, you don't have a Robert Harvey. You don't have a heart and soul Lenny Hayes. Like, they're just next level. And that could be me just being biased, but, you know, even the stars of our team are players that had to work hard. It's not just gifted to them like other clubs. Lenny Hayes and Robert Harvey, perfect examples. Bulls, they are fitness freaks, but they just kept working. Nick Riewoldt, if he didn't have the tank he did, maybe that's 300 goals he never would have kicked. You know, he worked hard and that got him some of the success that he got. At the same time with Jack Steele, he's not blessed with X Factor skill, but he's just a bloody hard worker and he does it every single week. So those are the sort of characters that go through the club that I guess drew me to the club, because I like, I'll be honest, I'm not blessed with a lot of smarts. I don't think I'm the smartest person in the room by any means. I work hard to maybe look smarter than I am, but I still work really hard, and that gets you somewhere, you know? More than just knowing stuff and having knowledge, you need to put it to work, and the club do that, and certain players have done that over the years, and I do that, and that's the reason why I love St Kilda. You know, they're just always there. I love an underdog. You know, Arsenal, EPL, perfect example. They're bloody bottom of the table at the moment, but I love them. They haven't had success since 03-04 when they went a whole season undefeated, apart from FA Cups and stuff like that. They're always the butt of the joke. They are. They're the joke of the Premier League. They're supposed to be a big club. They're supposed to have had success many times over the last 10 years. Hasn't happened, but I stick with them. The other one that comes to mind that might be a bit left field, in tennis, I used to be obsessed with Andy Roddick. I used to love watching A-Rod serve, you know, and 300 Ks an hour, just ace, ace, ace. He was better than what people gave him credit for. Same with some of our St Kilda sides, and same with some of the Arsenal performances. These things in my life just don't get enough credit that they deserve. Andy Roddick made many Grand Slams over the years in the early 2000s. Many. And he was only stood up by the great Roger Federer every time, or Rafa Nadal, when they were in their peak. He was on top of his game when the greatest in the history of that sport were on the top of their game. That's the bad luck. If he was around now, he'd be winning Grand Slam after Grand Slam. It's the same with St Kilda sides of 04, 05, 09, 10. If they were around now, they'd be killing these teams. They'd be killing them. They were just around when Collingwood went berserk in 2010 and Geelong were just formidable from 07 to 2010. They were just next level. That's how good they were under Bomber Thompson. You know, that's the bad luck that the clubs that I love have gone through, and the sporting heroes that I love have gone through. But I always feel like at some point, something will go right. You know, Jake, I always tell myself, we're going through this shit right now, but something will come of it. And I don't love St Kilda any less for the lack of success they've had. The same with Arsenal, same with Andy Roddick, same with anything that I love in life. I just love it because there's a connection there. You can't really put it into words. You just feel like you're meant to follow that team. You're born to follow that team. And one day, all of that loyalty will be paid off. Maybe we'll be doing a Melbourne next year, making a grand final. Good on Melbourne. I'm incredibly jealous of them. But I know they've gone through longer than us. Longer than me, obviously. I've only been around for 28 years. But even that's long enough, you know? So yeah, I felt like doing a video, guys. I don't know if it really tells you anything, but I'd love to know why you love St Kilda, why you're a Saint. What drew you to the red, white and black? Was it family? Or was it something else? For me, my mum's a Saint, but she didn't really have an influence on me. My uncle, he's a mad Saint. I feel like he was the main influence, but at the same time, it just kind of came to me. You know, I didn't really go to many games before 04. I think I went to maybe 1 or 2 in 03, and that was when Goddard debuted and took that specky, and that was amazing. But even then, I was pretty happy to just sit there and watch the club and not really, I don't know, say, yeah, I'm a Saints fan. Go Saints, let's go to every game. You know, I never really did that until that moment in 04 pre-season, like I said, where I said, I'm a Saint now. And from that point on, you know, I'm always excited to watch the club, whether we're near the top, whether we're near the bottom. And I feel like as a Saints fan, we're going to cherish the good more than any other club when it happens, because we are so used to being disappointed. So when the good comes around and we make a grand final, maybe, you know, we dare to dream and we win it, it's going to be really special to all of us. So, yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. I just wanted to give you a bit of background on why I'm a Saint and the people that have influenced me, and got a bit emotional there, but you know, that's what happens when you look in the past and you think about some really important people that have played a big role in your life. Yeah, so hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, I'd really appreciate it if you liked it, and if you're watching and you haven't subscribed to the channel, please hit the subscribe button. That'd mean the world to me. And like I said before, comment and tell me why you're a Saint, why you love the club unconditionally, because that's, I feel like, how we all are. Despite how bad things get this year, any year really, we're always going to turn up the year after and the year after that and the year after that and cheer for the red, white and black. So I'd love to hear why you're all Saints and why you love the club so much. And yeah, that's it, guys. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next video. Until then, go you mighty Sainers. See you guys.